Hello and welcome. Good afternoon and welcome to Opportunity Home San Antonio's regular board meeting on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Please note this meeting will be recorded in its entirety. We will now conduct roll call. Chair Estrellita Garcia Diaz.
Here.
Vice Chair Leila Powell.
Here.
Barbara Unkama Burford.
Here.
Janet Garcia.
Here.
Tanika Nikki Johnson.
Here.
David Hewitt.
Here.
Kayla Miranda.
Here.
Valerie Carrillo, Board of Commissioners Attorney.
Here.
President and CEO Michael Reyes.
Here.
Additionally, we have a Spanish and Pashto interpreter in the room should you need their support. The quorum has been met. You may now call the meeting to order. The time is 1:05 p.m.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will call this meeting to order. The Board of Commissioners or its committee may hold a closed meeting pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071-076 for consultation concerning attorney-client matters, real estate, litigation, personnel, and security matters. The board or committee reserves the right to enter into closed meeting at any time during the course of the meeting. We will proceed and move on to citizens to be heard.
Our first citizen signed up to speak is Richard Cantu.
This is my fifth appearance. I have 10 facts.
Mr. Cantu?
Excuse me, Mr. Cantu, if you could go to the mic, please. Thank you.
Stand right here. Okay. I got 10 fact sheets here, 8 for the board, 1 for the president, 1 for me. And I got entity ID 118682, date stamped documents. I also have a petition and police forgery files and lease violations 925. Okay. Let's get started. Good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Richard Cantu from Blanco Apartments. I stand here alone today, but I was supposed to be flanked by 4 of my neighbors, elderly and disabled individuals who signed up to speak. They are not here. They are at home. They saw the notice of lease violation I was served February 2nd, and they realized that at Opportunity Home, citizens to be heard is a trap. They chose their house security over their health because they believe this agency will retaliate against them as it is against me, as it has against me. Monday, I was cited for a violation lease by section 9N for introducing pests into a business environment for interfering with staff by sending emails. Let's be honest, I was being cited for providing evidence. I am not introducing pests. I am documenting the failure of Resolution 6744. You awarded millions of dollars to Worldwide Pest Control, yet I live with specimens at home in a sealed jar captured by supervised treatment, after a supervised treatment, to prove that money is being wasted. Telling a disabled resident that their desperate pleas for help are an interference is a shameful attempt to use the lease as a muzzle. On January 28th, I watched my manager act as a pest technician while simultaneously inspecting my housekeeping. As someone living with cirrhosis, arthritis, and depression with psychosis, I can tell you your staff is not trained for psychiatric community. They use housekeeping as a weapon to make residents feel filthy so they can stay quiet. This is the blame the victim mentality is why my neighbors are too scared to stand here. This is violation of the ADA and the Fair Housing Act. This pattern of misconduct isn't limited to pests. It extends to my finances. On July 19, 2025, a Saha certified check for $52 certified was altered. A clear act of forgery, resulting in more than $500 of overcharge in rent that still remains unsolved. Whether it's forgery financial documents or retaliation lease violations, the message from an administration is the same. They will exploit and silence disabled residents rather than serve them. I'm requesting a full audit of my ledger and entity ID 118682 receipts, date stamp May 15, 2025, alongside the removal of disgusting roaches from the Blanco Apartments facilities. I'm handing you a policy failure fact sheet and retaliation notes. I request immediate rescinding of violation notice dated February 2nd, 2026. A proactive apartment inspection by San Antonio Metro Health to prove I am right. A formal investigation to the culture of fear of Blanco Apartments. If you evict the messenger, the roaches are still there. You cannot fix what you're too busy hiding. I did not just email these concerns, which you have ignored for months. As of yesterday, I handed a hand-delivered formal statement regarding this manager's conduct and your contractor's failure to direct directly to the main office. I have a date stamp proof of direct.
Our next speaker is Manuel R. Martinez.
Too afraid
afraid to show up. Least violation.
Mr. Gunther, your 3 minutes are up.
Our next speaker, Joan Murphy. Next speaker signed up, Gary Vincent Childs. And our last citizen signed up to speak, Raymond Johnson. That concludes our citizens signed up to speak.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to recognize and thank former Commissioner Gilbert Casillas. Former Commissioner Gilbert Casillas has served on this board since 2021 and has brought thoughtful leadership, perspective, and a strong commitment to the families that we serve. His commitment to service is longstanding, as he is a U.S. Army veteran and a dedicated professional, whose commitment to serving has shaped the leadership on this board, especially during his tenure as vice chair here at Opportunity Home. It has been my pleasure to have worked alongside him for the time that I've been on this board, and I am very thankful for your partnership and your continued support of the work that we do. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, thank you, Gilbert, for your service and your dedication to the mission that we have here at Opportunity Home. Please join me in offering a sincere thank you for his service and his dedication and the work that we continue to do here at Opportunity Home.
I hope I can keep from getting emotional, but. I asked our wonderful chairwoman if I could say a few words, and she agreed. Madam Chair, thank you. Thank you for those gracious words. And it's been my greatest honor to serve on this panel with such esteemed colleagues that I have served with throughout the last 4 years. And also the wonderful staff that make up this wonderful organization that serves the citizens of San Antonio, that if it wasn't for this organization, they would probably be in the streets. And I thank each and every one of you for your hard work and your dedication to this organization and its residents. Thank you. Madam Chair, once again, thank you. Madam Vice Chair, you're a powerhouse. Your knowledge of housing and the people that we serve and the organization that you serve as executive director, and your time here, you ask the tough questions, and a lot of times I'm thinking some of the same things when I would be up there that you were. But thank you for your dedication and your leadership, and I wish you the best on your future endeavors. Janet, it was great serving with you as my fellow resident commissioner. Thank you for your friendship. Barbara, thank you for your friendship also, and our talks we would have every now and then and everything. But thank you. To the new commissioners, remember that the residents are number one in this organization and the people that we serve. There's a lot you're going to need to learn. I recommend going to a conference in fundamentals for commissioners. You'll learn a lot there. So I wish you the best of luck. And for some time, I'll be on this side, you know, and as a resident, I may come in with concerns or stuff to you all with citizens to be heard, but thank you, and thank you for your service. Michael, thank you for taking on this responsibility. I don't think you ever thought you would be sitting in this chair, but I want to thank you for the work you have done since you've taken over as CEO and executive director. You are turning this organization around for the better, and you're making the changes that I've seen for the better, and I thank you. And I know there's some good things ahead, I'm sure, with also the work of the board with you. So thank you so much for taking the reins and doing what you do, and I wish you continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gilbert, I know you sat down already, but I just want to add that every time that I came to a meeting, no matter how tense or how many details we had, you were there with a hug and a welcome, and you have the biggest heart of anyone I know and a knack for making people feel that they're included. I have a staffer who was new in this area, and she was at a housing event and a housing conference, and she said, I was so nervous. I didn't know if I was meant to be in that room. I didn't necessarily know what to do. She said, but you know, Commissioner Casillas came up to me, and he just took me on. He took me under his wing, and it was great. She said, I had a buddy at that moment, and I knew that that was, you know, that I was in the right spot because there was someone there to welcome me and to bring me in. And so I think we would love to hear from you at future meetings because you do have a heart for the work, and you've been so committed to Opportunity Home, and I think you just represent the best of service. Thank you for your service to this country and for your continued belief that acting together, we as a community can create a better life for all of us. And sometimes it's hard to hold that vision out there and to act on it, and that is what you consistently do day in and day out. So I just want to express my personal thanks to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will proceed with the regular board meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask for approval of the December 10th, 2025 regular board meeting minutes. Is there any discussion or questions regarding this item? No? Okay, so I will ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Oh, second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Item passes. Okay, and now the individual items. Item number 5, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6901, the award of a contract for tax credit consulting services to Betco Consulting LLC. We've got George Ayala, Director of Procurement, Edgar Olivas, Assistant Director, Development Services and Neighborhood Revitalization.
Madam Chair, thank you. Commissioners, we bring you this item today requesting approval for the tax credit consulting services and authorizing the award to Betco Consulting. The contract is not to exceed $600,000, and the cost of the services will be reimbursed per the project and will not be an expense to the agency. We're requesting the tax credit consultant to ensure that we have the best feasibility for every one of our project evaluations. The consultant will help us take a deep dive analysis to determine how a project would score as either a 4% or a 9% project, with a big emphasis on the competitive 9% projects. The consultant will also manage the tax credit application process for projects from pre-application until the tax credits are approved and awards are made. The consultant will also serve as a point of contact for Opportunity Home San Antonio with other government agencies such as Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs. Now I want to turn it over to our Director of Procurement, George Ayala.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, George Ayala, Director of Procurement. As Mr. Olivas commented, we did go out for an RFP. Opportunity Home issued a formal RFP in October of 2025, with soliciting 34 vendors. At the conclusion of the solicitation period, we received 2 proposals, which were evaluated on experience, technical approach, capacity, price, and based on the criteria, staff is recommending the award of the contract to Betco Consulting LLC, as they were rated the highest rated and the lowest cost respondent, and they bring an extensive experience working with large housing authorities like ours. As Mr. Olivas mentioned, the contract is initial for 1-year term with 4 additional 4-year renewal options. The estimated annual expenditures for this contract are approximately $600,000. These services are initially funded through real estate services and will be reimbursed from the project funds as time of closing. At this time, I will entertain any questions that you all might have.
Can you just, for the benefit of folks, just explain why we need a consultant on, an inexpensive consultant for tax credits?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to defer to Mr. Olivas real quick.
Good afternoon. So the tax credit application process, believe it or not, is very tedious, and it's extremely competitive in some instances. And so in order for us to be competitive and to weigh our options to determine which developments we should proceed with and which not, it requires the assistance of a consultant. Important to note is that while we state up to $600,000, it's because we will be doing multiple projects simultaneously. And please know that while we front those funds through real estate dollars, we get reimbursed through the project. So the money comes back to the agency. So it's only for a short period of time that the money goes out, and then we get it back once we close on the project.
Is there any expectation of success or goals, or what are we expecting to receive from this investment in utilizing this consultant?
So the consultant on 9% tax credits is working to make sure that we get awarded, because it's a very competitive process, and we're going to go into that in a few minutes. And we'll be able to weigh for us our options. When we see a log of the pre-applications for a 9% round, she'll be able to tell us, you know what, it doesn't look like it's going to happen because maybe the project is ranked too low, and we'll be able to tell us maybe the next round would be better for us. 4% tax credit, she's going to make sure that our applications are complete, and she works with us through the entire process. She is our liaison to TDHCA, so she's familiar with all the departments and the contact individuals who help get us through the process. If there's any kind of bottleneck, she's the one that goes to TDHCA and talks to them and makes sure that we get through the process smoothly.
Is there a particular number of projects that we're expecting to see to fruition through utilizing this process or these consultants?
Yes, so we have right now that we're planning on, and you're going to hear about it again in a little bit more in the meeting, is we probably have about 4 to 5 that we need to procure those services for.
Okay. Thank you.
Are two solicitations, 2 RFPs out of 34 solicitations pretty normal?
So what we usually do, we use a system called Bonfire. This is a nationwide procurement software. This software, not only are vendors that are registered directly with us, but there are also direct vendors that are nationwide. So we utilize the software. 34 we actually send it to them because they were registered under that specific commodity code. However, not everybody downloads these proposals. In addition to that, we also go ahead and post our solicitations in the newspaper as required by law. So we do have multiple attempts of reaching out to multiple vendors. Based on different experiences, it might not be something that they're interested at the time, or have the capacity of submitting a proposal for at this time.
Thank you.
In reviewing the scoring matrix,
Yes.
so both respondents for experience, technical approach, and managerial capacity all got the exact same score. And then when it came to price proposal, there seems to be a big difference. Like, talk about that. How did they all score exactly the same?
Okay.
Those 3 categories, and then
So when it comes to price proposal, we actually use a formula that is fairly used around the procurement world. So what we do is we award the maximum amount of points, which in this case, it is 15 points. And based on the number of respondents and the difference in pricing, that's how the points are awarded based on those calculations. So being that they were scored, like let's say for example, experience, they both were deemed fairly equal, 28 points. 21.67 on both technical approach and the same thing for managerial capacity. But the price difference, in this case, the 15 points was the one that deciding factor.
Thank you.
So is the takeaway from this that both were capable of doing the work, that really the only difference was price?
Yes, ma'am. And there was a significant price difference between both of the respondents. I believe it was over $150,000 difference. So we are getting most of our bang for our buck.
Okay, any additional questions? If there are no additional questions, I'll go ahead and ask for a motion to approve Resolution 6901. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 6, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6902, the award of a contract for moving services and temporary storage for Ravello Apartments to Swift Movers LLC. George Ayala, you're up again, and Victoria Phoebus, Director of Affordable Housing Communities.
Good afternoon again. The second item before you, Commissioners, is Resolution 6902 regarding moving and storage services for Ravello Apartments, our 252-unit senior community. To provide some context for this request, at the November 12, 2025 board meeting, Resolution 6832 authorized a contract with Gage Commercial Construction for interior and exterior renovations at Ravello. The original award was for an amount not to exceed $5,237,108.59, which included a base bid plus alternatives and a contingency. This contract is funded by MTW funds, the City Housing Bond, and other available reserves. Now that the contract has been executed by both parties, work is scheduled to begin later this month. Because Ravello is 99% occupied, we must move residents in phases of 12 units at a time for approximately 2 weeks while their specific units are renovated. This contract before you is critical component of completing the Ravello improvements. With regards to the project scope, if approved today, the total project cost, including construction, moving, services, and possible hotel accommodation, is estimated at $5,782,710. With this particular resolution, with regards to the procurement process of Resolution 6902, Opportunity Home currently has master agreements with 4 vendors for moving and temporary storage. While we have existing master agreements for moving services, the scale of these projects exceeds the annual limits of those contracts. Utilizing those previous solicitations, staff is recommending award of contracts to Swift Movers as they provided the lowest cost for this project. At this time, we are requesting an amount not to exceed $415,000 and $415,601. This includes a base bid of $346,334.50 and a 20% contingency of $69,267 for any unforeseen needs. The funding source for these moving services is operating reserves. Any questions?
The 69,000,
Yes,
that is that in case there was like an extended amount of time if a resident would be needing, like, I don't know, maybe they need an extra a week, or if they were hospitalized, is that what the $69,000 will cover if it were to be, I mean, not, if, just in a scenario.
Yes. So the $69,000 is just a contingency for the moving services. So when we go out for bid, we don't actually go into each particular resident's home. We actually estimate the size, the moving capacity, or what is going to be moved based on the size. So based on the actual amount of storage needed and the length, that might increase it. So this is the original amount requested is an estimated of how long it was going to take for each project to be completed.
So I have a couple of questions. So it says that Swift offered the lowest bid. How many other contractors did you all speak with before going with Swift?
So we have 2 awards, 2 master agreements. These master agreements are a total of 4 vendors in this contract. We have one master agreement which has up to $1 million with 3 vendors, and then an extra one, which is the one with Swift, that it's up to $250,000. So previously to August of last year, we had a not to exceed amount in most of our contracts. So that's why it's limiting us. The procurement process is still the same. It's still competitive procured. We still went out for several different vendors when we originally awarded. We're just asking for us to extend that amount of that award. But like I said, not only are we just picking one out of the 4, we actually bid within the bid.
Okay, so, but how many, because you said you did go out? So how many outside of that did you?
So for this particular project, only those 4 that are on the master agreement, ma'am.
Okay, my next question is, there's a certain amount total not to exceed
Yes, ma'am.
for all of the families. Are the families given like an allotment, or is there like a cap that they are allowed to? Because you're gonna have families with larger amounts of people in them, so that means it's gonna be more furniture, more things. So is there like a cap per family?
Yes,
And if
ma'am.
so, is that based on household size?
Yes, and I think Ms. Fivas is here, so she can elaborate on that.
Good afternoon, Board. So Ravello is a disabled elderly property. So we do have a few 2-bedroom units which have been identified, but most of our units are 1-bedroom. And so based upon that information is how we came up with this price. Most of, as George elaborated on, the cost for the movers is based upon square feet, 1-bedroom units, this amount. And so that's how we came up with the price. We have no family units there. They're all 1 or 2-bedroom units, elderly property.
So no matter what's in that unit, everything will be
Correct.
moved, no additional?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It will be moved, packed up, and then
Stored.
returned. So we'll do it all for
All right, thank you.
our residents.
If you could just clarify what MTW is and why that's an appropriate use of funds. And then one other note, which is not a criticism or critique of this process, but just to make sure that those master agreements, as we look ahead to renovation projects, that the ceiling of those agreements is keeping pace with the anticipated demand, unless that master agreement ceiling is mandated by HUD, in which case I know we can't mess with it. But clearly, we could see years where we're doing more renovation, and we might need to raise that ceiling so that the board isn't, repeatedly approving exceptions to what should be kind of a routine policy.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll talk to the ceiling of the agreement. So, like as I mentioned, in August of last year, we did bring our procurement policy, which allows us to take away that verbiage of the not to exceed. Because we had that verbiage of the not to exceed, our contracts or our awards were capped at that amount. Now, whenever we present anything to the board, we do give you an estimated amount of the award. Now, all of this amount is always governed by our operating budget, or any what's it called, available reserves as needed, or as we mentioned from other like previously we had from the other funding that we used in the previous one. Sorry. But yeah, so it's governed by our operating budget primarily. Now, we do have instances where we do go outside of that budget, but that's on a management decision, and that's brought to the board as well. With regards to the MTW funds, you want to explain that?
So the MTW funds for this project, and as well as the Mid-Crown project, were set in the budget resolution for the previous fiscal year and will not change. It's $2.5 million maximum, including construction, moving, all involved costs. Any other costs that exceed that amount will need to be paid for by Affordable Housing Communities combined available reserves.
And so just to clarify, so the Moving to Work, the MTW, the Moving to Work cohort is something that Opportunity Home is a member of at a national level that has a goal of moving residents to self-sufficiency or providing opportunities, but also of improving the housing stock and making, safe and housing available. And that's why this rehab would fall under that.
Right, that's why this qualifies, right, specifically in the MTW. Right.
And just overall, typically, the amount of subsidy that we receive from HUD is not enough to maintain and improve units. And so that's why you mentioned both Moving to Work and the Affordable Housing Communities Portfolio revenue as a way of doing work on properties that don't have any other source to improve, any other source of funds.
Right, and for public housing for, 2026, cutting even further, so yes. We'll be addressing that in the 2027 budget.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, with no additional questions, I'd like to call for a motion to approve Resolution 6902. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passes. We move on to item number 7, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6903, inducement for the proposed 9% low-income housing tax credit project to be known as NHH Culebra. Nicholas Delaney, is that right?
Delaney.
Delaney. Project Manager 1, Development Services and Neighborhood Revitalization.
Before we go into that particular, there we go. Before we go into the real estate items, I just wanted to give a quick overview. You had some great questions about tax credits and the different financing structures, and for the benefit of our new board members, we wanted to give just a quick overview on those types of structures. But I'm Lorraine Robles, and I am the Chief Real Estate and Development Officer for the agency. And the tax credits are where we do the bulk of our work for real estate development. It was created in 1986. It's a Tax Reform Act of 1986 created by Congress, and it is administered by the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, also known as TDHCA, and it is regulated by the Internal Revenue Service. And so these tax credits, we have to apply for them, and you're going to see in the next few minutes, we're going to present a development that is utilizing, or that has the potential to utilize 9% tax credits, but there's also 4% tax credits that are also coupled with bonds, tax-exempt bonds. And then you'll have 2 more projects on the agenda that are not utilizing tax credits, but are utilizing conventional loans or equity. So the 9% tax credits, and we're actually in tax credit season right now, pre-applications are usually submitted by the first part of January, and then a log comes out. So those pre-applications that are submitted by our housing providers go in, and they have to self-score themselves. And TDHCA only allows a certain percentage or margin of error, so you have to be as honest as possible on that scoring criteria. So once those pre-applications go in, they're posted by TDHCA and ranked according to their own self-scoring. And this is what tells us as partners where our project falls within that competitive range. There's only enough in our region, we're in Region 9, there's only enough money available to fund 2 or 3 projects. So when you're looking at 15 to 20 projects applying, if you're not ranked within the top 5, you're probably not going to get a allocation. And so this is where our tax credit consulting comes in to help us determine that. The funding cycle for the full application requires that we come to the board at least twice. So once housing providers know where they fall or they rank and they want to move forward, then they come to us to partner. So you're going to see 9% tax credit projects usually twice before the board. One, the first time because we know that we need to get ready for full application, And so there's going to be certificates and certifications that we'll have to sign as we prepare to do that. Applications are due by February 27th, and then awards or allocations are awarded the last Thursday in July, and that's for 9% round. Then the next is the 4% tax credits that are also coupled with tax-exempt bonds. You'll see in October, and for those of you who have been on the board, know that usually by October, we have multiple projects coming before you for bond inducement. And that's what we call bond season, right? We prepare, we try to get everybody in September, but they usually don't fall until October. October is the deadline to submit a bond application for a development project. And so you're gonna see a lot of those in October. And with those, once a bond reservation is received, the project has 180 days to close, which means the clock starts ticking as soon as that bond reservation is received. And you're going to see one today under the 4% tax credit bond structure. And then there's two more on the agenda today that fall under the non-tax credit, as mentioned before, and they're financed through private debt and equity, and they're sourced from individuals as well as other financial institutions such as PNC and Wells Fargo. And so I just wanted to give you that quick overview so that you're prepared to see the next four items.
Hello, Board of Commissioners. Thank you for having me again. I'm Nicholas Delaney. I'm a project manager with our DSNR department. We also have, with New Hope Housing, Ron Lastimosa and Katie Anchondo with New Hope Housing. So if you have any questions directly for this housing provider, they're here as well for you. And we're bringing a project titled NHH Culebra for your approval. So today we are requesting approval to approve San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation, one of our affiliated entities under Opportunity Home, to begin negotiating terms and financing on this project as a potential general partner in this project. This will provide non-binding resolutions, so there's no financial obligation right now at this point. This is just to begin negotiating. And this allows the project to move forward along that process, especially for the 9% tax credits program. And also, we would be submitting any, like Lorraine said, certifications that are needed in applications to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, who administer the 9% tax credit program in Texas. So it allows the housing provider to do that as well. And this, in the future, we will return for final approval once we do negotiate terms, and that would come before you as well. This would be our first partnership with New Hope Housing, and we'll get into exactly their background in just a moment. Trying to click this. Okay, there we go. So New Hope Housing is a nonprofit housing provider with 32 years of service experience in affordable housing. So they are the actual leading permanent supportive housing provider in Texas, with 60% of their current portfolio dedicated to permanent supportive housing. Although this project is coming to San Antonio, hopefully, NHH Culebra is not a permanent supportive housing project. This would be our first time working with Opportunity Home San Antonio, and Opportunity Home San Antonio has worked hard to find a nonprofit partner in this type of deal, so we're really excited to potentially be working with them. In the past, they've completed projects with other partners, including the Houston Housing Authority, Harris County, HFC, and other philanthropic donors. This project is located on the outer west side of San Antonio, near Ingram Park Mall, as well as near Christus Santa Rosa, Westover Hills, and Northwest Vista College. It's right off on Culebra, right outside of Loop 410. The proposed project includes, well, this project one sits in District 6. It's a part of Northside ISD. The proposed project includes 80 units to be constructed. This would be a new construction project, so from the ground up. All the units would be considered affordable, so 100% affordable. They are restricted by income, called average median income within the San Antonio area. So so there's a certain percentage of that that family can make, so they're income restricted units. 12 of those units would be restricted to 30% AMI. 32 units would be restricted to 50% AMI, as well as 36 units would be restricted to 60% AMI. The unit mix includes 28 one-bedroom units, 39 two-bedroom units, and 13 three-bedroom units. And once again, this is a 9% tax credit program project. The breakdown for the project costs are as follows. So the land cost is around $3.5 million. Hard costs, which are construction costs, are $17.6 million. And soft costs, these are other administrative expenses, and other soft cost work like lands, environmentals, et cetera. And that's $7.5 million for a total budget of $28.6 million to construct this project. So in these type of partnerships, we may yield some revenue, and any proceeds from those projects will help support low-income residents by preserving and expanding and sustaining affordable housing and resident services, including funding budget gaps in affordable housing projects, as well as preserving and upgrading any existing public housing units. And so the benefits of that is you expand, for at least our residents, expands access to workforce housing, employment opportunities, as well as any other pathways of opportunities to education, job training, and includes access to transportation and employment. So as you saw in this current project, it's near a lot of workplace opportunities. It's on Culebra, near transit options as well. So that's an example of how that can work. Is there any questions from the board?
I commend Opportunities Home dedication to permanent supportive housing, dedicating 60% of the units. Is there any contingency planning around HUD's eventual possible move away from permanent supportive housing to transitional housing?
Yeah, this project isn't a permanent supportive housing project, but the benefits with working with this partner, it could open the doors to those types of projects in the future. I'm not too sure on the HUD policy, but we can look into that.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
I have a question, and I think this is just more for clarity. Could you explain to us how we determine the number of units we will create at each of those AMI levels? Is there a formula, or is there, is it due to funding, or not funding, but?
This is Ron Lastimosa with the project.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board. The easy answer to that question is it's based on the total development cost, and so we want to spread the tax credit equity as much as we can. So unfortunately, 80 units does not seem like a lot of units, but that is what the 9% housing tax program sort of allows us to build.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Yes, quick clarity. Looking at your housing provider overview, it says here that you are the leading permanent supportive housing provider in Texas, but this particular property will not be supportive housing.
That's correct. So permanent supportive housing has been sort of our bread and butter in Houston, Texas. We developed a single-room occupancy model, housing plus services model in Houston in particular. And as we were branching out into different geographic areas like San Antonio, we wanted to ensure a project that we felt we could do, a barrier to entry project, as you will. And this is what New Hope Housing Culebra Phase 1 would look at. We are certainly looking and open to doing permanent supportive housing here in San Antonio.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve Resolution 6903. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. This motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, consideration and approval regarding Resolution 6905, Brickstone Apartments Inducement and MOU, Savannah Campos, Project Manager 2, Development Services and Neighborhood Revitalization. Welcome.
Hi. So as said, I'm Savannah Campos, Project Manager 2 with the Development Services Department. And behind me here is Carly Gass with Kittle Property Groups, and she is part of the Brickstone Flats project that we are bringing to you today. So just an overview. It is a senior housing project, and it's intended for those 55 and older. It did receive bond approval previously. I say bond approval, sorry. They received bond inducement approval from this board back in October. Today, we're requesting to expand our role to potentially become GP and start negotiations and do the background work to enter a memorandum of understanding. This resolution is non-binding, and this will be our third project with Kittle Property Group. So it's located off 35 and Somerset Road on the south side of San Antonio. And within 5 miles, there's a Centro Med, a library, and a senior community center, among many other resources that are important to our seniors. And then there's also an HEB. There's 2 different HEBs within 10 miles, and then some smaller local markets within that. It is in City Council District 4 in South San ISD, and this will be a new construction project. There will be 29 units at 30% annual median income and 261 units at 60% annual median income. The units will be 1 and 2 bedroom mix, particularly because it is a senior development, and it will be hopefully funded with 4% tax bond and credits. The land cost is approximately $2,400,000. The construction cost is about $37 million. Other soft costs, $26.5 million, which gives a total project cost of around $66 million. And so that's $227,000 and some change per unit. As mentioned previously, proceeds from this project will help to support low-income residents by preserving, expanding, and sustaining affordable housing resident services, including things like construction of new affordable units, funding budget gaps, things of that nature. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question. On page 51, where you're showing, I'm sorry, are you able to go to slide number 51? Keep going, please. Right, go back, right there. So I see it's in within 5 miles of the places that you have listed. Can we talk about the transit? Is it located on the bus line, and if so?
I'm gonna have Carly talk about that.
I'm sorry?
I'm gonna have Carly Gass talk about that.
Hi, my name's Carly Goss. I'm the Development Director for Kittle Property Group. So your question is related to the mass transit?
Yes.
It's not located on a bus line currently. So that is one unfortunate, with this site, with its location, it's not currently located near a bus stop.
Has anyone researched how far it is from the bus stop?
We haven't. We do find that a lot of our residents, especially where the majority of the rents are at the 60% level, they do have their own cars. So it's not something we've looked into specifically for this development, but I can find that and send it around.
Okay, so for me, that would be a little bit concerning. This is a senior, focused towards senior citizens. I do understand the 60%, but a lot will not have their own transportation, and they've got to get to doctor's appointments and other things. I'm very interested in the closest route. Is there Via Link available?
Yes.
I see a yes.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
I can answer that. Commissioner, it's right near Palo Alto College, and the Via Link can link up to that site all the way, maybe one intersection north of that where the Walmart is. And so there is, I grew up in the neighborhood, so I'm familiar with that area. There is a Via Link access to Palo Alto College, which is actually a hub for the rest of the bus system. I did talk to Councilman Munguia yesterday regarding this area, this project. He's working on infrastructure for this intersection. He's right now currently working on traffic signals because there's a concern there. So he's really trying to invest into that area. So this is just part of that investment.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
The majority of elder and disabled tend to be on fixed income, Social Security. So why are there so many 60% units?
Yeah, so there's a lot, it has to do with how the financing works and to be able to provide the super deep affordability, which is typically your 30%, they need to have kind of the higher side to balance that out and make the project actually pencil, otherwise you get no units.
Okay, so is there an estimate on how many vacant units there will be at any given time because people just can't afford it?
Sure. Yeah. So what Savannah said is true. Unfortunately, these developments, the 4% tax credit developments, are not feasible if the average AMIs are below a certain level. So in this case, it works where we have 90% of the units at 60% AMI and then 10% at 30. If we lose any more of those 60% units, it becomes infeasible and we just can't develop the community at all. We do underwrite a 7.5% vacancy rate. I do know that in our portfolio of senior communities, they're slower to lease up than a general population or family development, but they tend to stay occupied. So, while we're underwriting 7.5% vacancy, we expect it to be lower than that.
Have you explored combining bond funding with the San Antonio housing bond funding with this project? There's going to be a new one in 2027. So
We haven't looked into that. We typically, just do a straight bond deal. We don't typically involve soft funds, but it's something we can look into.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call for a motion to approve resolution number 6905. Do I have a motion? So moved. A second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. The motion passes. We will move items number 9 and 10 to closed session. I will jump over to item number 11. Discussion items. It's an update and discussion regarding the Affordable Housing Preservation and Rehabilitation Plan. Lorraine, welcome back.
Hi, thank you. Let's see, let me get to our first slide. So I just wanted to be able to provide the board an update of our work. I know that we talked last March about the preservation of our public housing and our affordable housing that we have on the ground already. And so we've been working diligently towards that. And so we've done extensive analysis on each of the properties. There are, because of the varying conditions of each of the properties and their different financial status, it's become a very complex process. And it's going to require that we use a multiple of methods in order for us to redevelop or rehabilitate them. The effort is going to require the political and financial support of not only HUD, but the City of San Antonio, TDHCA, and our community partners. So what are the challenges? There are many. So low rents, age and condition, and when I speak of age, I speak also of antiquated site plans as well as unit floor plans. We're looking at zoning restrictions, high poverty rates, high cost of construction and high interest rates. If there's any opposition from advocacy or neighborhood groups, and then lack of political support. So what are our options? We have HUD preservation options are Section 18 blends. So we've used Section 18 in the past, and that's when HUD deems a property obsolete, and we're able to get tenant protection vouchers to utilize for the residents or towards the property. There's also a possibility of utilizing PBRAs, which they're not subject to the 110 fair market rent cap for PBVs, and it allows up to $100 more per unit in opportunity zones. Now, a lot of the reason, and we'll get into this in just a minute, when we talk about the current financial structure of our developments, is that we're not getting enough money to sustain those properties. And not just the everyday operations, but also the maintenance and capital improvements that are very much needed at our properties. And so we're looking at different ways, and a PBRA contract is one of them. What are some other solutions? We're looking at each property and trying to determine the work needed. Is it a rehabilitation? Is it a substantial rehabilitation and modernization? Or is it a complete redevelopment that's required in order to preserve that property? We also have the option of potential acquisitions that would be in the nearby area where we could insert our units, our affordable units. Also, the utilization of larger or commercially zoned sites to increase density. So we have many of our sites that are not fully utilizing the acreage that they're on. And so there's potential to not only redevelop, rehabilitate, and modernize those properties, but also increase the density so that we're creating more affordable units. And then transfer of assistance, which is something new that we learned, and Section 18 demolition disposition. So there are some instances where the property itself is beyond its useful life and is actually in some cases boarded up and is no longer being utilized. And if it goes 2 years without being utilized, we can no longer recoup that subsidy. So we lose the public housing subsidy. So what we're trying to do is look at the timing of these units, which are the ones that we can move quickly on and save and bring them, and so that we can preserve that subsidy. Next slide. So we're talking about 6,000 units. They're spread among 74 developments. 59 of those developments are 100% pure public housing. So how do we begin to prioritize? So we started looking at developments with failing foundations and infrastructure. The photo that you see was just provided to us yesterday. This is a new issue that we've run across and that we're having to deal with. We're also looking at developments requiring comprehensive modernization. Developments that are older and have fewer than 50 units. Developments with, forgive me, because
Uninhabitable units.
Uninhabitable units. So believe it or not, we have about 77 units that are either single standing or within buildings that have had to come offline because they're no longer habitable. And we've had to board them up. And we don't have the money to improve them or rehabilitate them or redevelop them. And so they're sitting there idle. And those are 77 units that could be utilized for individuals off our wait list. And the number's growing. Does not include the picture you see right now. Right now, we're trying to determine what the best route is for that particular property. Next slide. So timeline. Again, we've been working since March of last year. We have been working through our strategic plan, and it's included in our strategic plan. But this month, we wanted to be able to launch a strategic plan and our plan to start preserving our public housing. So we're going to begin environmental reviews. In fact, we've already ordered environmental reviews. We've ordered physical needs assessments on our properties, as well as appraisals. And we also want to issue an RFP for what we call a turnkey developer. This will help us to retain ownership because the developer's only brought in so that they can help us through construction and get us through conversion, and then they step out of the project. And this will allow us to retain ownership, provide our own management, and make sure that we protect our residents. By March, we're looking at starting our resident and community engagement, and this will be on-site in person. We're developing relocation plans. Relocation could mean within the same development, just from one building to the next, one unit to the next, depending on the structure of the development. It could mean off-site. That has to be determined once we've talked to the residents and we've determined the level of work that's needed on each development. By April, we want to be able to be in a position to prepare for our submission to HUD for our funding and our disposition application. So we'll need the support of our residents. So we'll need a letter from the Resident Advisory Board. We also need a letter from the mayor supporting our efforts. We'll also need your approval. We'll need the board's approval. And then we'll be ready to submit our funding and disposition application. Please note, I know in the past we had been talking about maybe submitting one full application, but after further consideration and making the determination of the urgency of some properties over others, we found that it's going to be best for us to start with individual applications. Just Section 18, we need to move forward with these before we lose them. So by June or July, we're hoping HUD approval. Again, this is based on historical information. HUD has changed a lot. They've lost a lot of individuals. So we're not quite certain how long it's going to take for us to move through HUD to get approval. Opportunity Home Board approval of our turnkey housing provider by June or July, and then we'll begin our preservation and expansion. So again, this is going to be just dependent on which property we're talking about and how we plan to move on it. So the plans will differ. Next slide. Are there any questions with the update? And I think we have a closed session where we can go into more detail and we can spend a whole lot more time. But if there are any quick questions, I'm happy to help.
I know we typically use a figure of about $500 million of desirable, I won't say deferred maintenance, but desirable maintenance and improvements at our properties. Will this process give us any more fine-grained information about that, or do you expect that number to remain unchanged?
No, it's going to change.
Thank you.
Increase.
And Commissioners, if I could just add that this is decades in the making. I think administrations and boards for the past have kicked the can down the road saying someone else will figure out how to preserve our units. Someone else will figure out a plan. Someone else will figure out a strategy. Well, this team in place is ready to go. Enough kicking the can down the road. We have an obligation to preserve these units and these subsidies in this city that desperately needs it. So we are ready to go. There's no more kicking the can down the road. It's time to act. And so we want to be methodical and diligent in terms of our research and our analysis. So we spent, as Lorraine mentioned, since last year to make sure we're getting this right. And so we're ready to go. And so we hope to have your support as we move forward. But again, to Lorraine's point, we're happy to answer any questions.
Seems like this information might be arriving in time to help us advocate around the next bond issue.
Absolutely. Perfect timing.
Lovely coincidence.
Do we have any other general questions at this time? Okay. All right. Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you.
And Michael, we'll move into the President's report.
Thank you, Chairwoman Garcia-Diaz and Commissioners. I'll begin with an update on our emergency preparedness. We have completed the installation and activation of new emergency generators at our Riverside, Highview, and Fair Avenue communities, funded through a $2 million community project funding award secured by Congressman Henry Cuellar. Testing was completed January 23rd, and all systems are fully operational. These generators ensure our community rooms remain powered during outages, supporting resident safety and continuity of services. The Fair Avenue site can now serve as a centralized command location with additional backup capacity at Highview and Riverside. We're grateful to the Congressman's office and his support, and also our Capital Projects Division led by Hector Martinez in strengthening our operational readiness. In addition to strengthening our physical infrastructure, I want to recognize the extraordinary commitment of our employees during the recent winter weather back on January 24th, 25th. We activated our emergency response plan to protect our residents and maintain reliable operations. Our public housing and our affordable housing community staff, including maintenance staff, spent the night overnight at our elderly and disabled communities to ensure they had immediate support and to monitor critical systems. Again, this is out of the norm. This is not something we typically do. This is not assisted living, it's independent living. But we thought it was important that staff spend the night given the nature of the weather and to make sure someone was on site to handle any needs that arise. So I wanted to just thank our staff, including risk management, IT, and all the departments we kind of had this like ongoing war room, if you will, online to make sure we're monitoring by the minute what was happening and how we were responding and working with our city's emergency officials as well. So it was a great team effort, and we're grateful for the employees who extended their schedules and continued to put residents first. On the screen, we hosted an appreciation lunch yesterday. We went and we had enjoyed a lunch, and just as it was a small token to say thank you for going above and beyond. And so this was a team that put it together, who handled operations, and also the team that volunteered at our housing in San Antonio event the last 2 weeks as well. So it was a good team effort. I'd like to also introduce our new employee recognition program, which gives our consistent, it's an opportunity to give consistent recognition to employees who've dedicated their time and their teamwork to make a difference. So I wanted to acknowledge 4 employees. One is George Ramos. He's a senior maintenance tech with public housing. He's recognized for his leadership and technical expertise and consistent commitment to keeping building systems reliable and residents safe. Also, Angelo Guerrero, the senior housing assistant specialist with Housing Voucher Services, recognized for his professionalism, clear communication, and dedication to helping residents and colleagues navigate complex processes with confidence and respect. Santoya Wilcox, resident service specialist with Community Development Initiatives, which is our resident services department, recognized for her compassion, advocacy, and commitment to supporting residents and coworkers throughout every single day's challenges and difficult moments. And then, of course, Gabriel Davila, our maintenance supervisor with Affordable Housing Communities, recognized for his hands-on leadership, strong work ethic, commitment to maintaining high standards across his properties and his team. So I wanted to congratulate these honorees and also provide them, and I'm hoping the board chair and vice chair can join me in providing these awards of merit to these employees. Thank you all. Moving on, I'd like to take a brief moment to talk about governance update. Following a vendor appeal, Opportunity Home engaged an independent third party to review the procurement process for RFP 2506-5592. The review confirmed that staff followed Opportunity Home policies and applicable Texas law. Based on the findings, the consultant advised that the procurement is legally sufficient and the organization may proceed with the award to the recommended vendor. So I wanted to make sure the board was aware of that. Also, I'd like to briefly discuss a recent HUD directive regarding citizenship and immigration status verification. HUD issued guidance on January 23rd requiring housing authorities to review and confirm eligibility records for certain households identified through its Enterprise Income Verification SAVE system. These requirements have been in place for many years, but HUD is now increasingly monitoring and following up. Staff are reviewing the guidance and preparing to take any necessary steps to ensure records are accurate and the documentation is complete. HUD has indicated that inclusion in the report does not automatically mean a household is ineligible, but that additional information may be required. Throughout the process, we'll continue to administer our programs in compliance with federal requirements. So I know Commissioner Powell, you had any questions about that before we moved on?
My question was just to ensure that we are mindful that the current situation is very stressful for residents and to make sure that we're communicating clearly about what information we do and don't provide and what we're required to do. I know that as part of an organization that has offices across the country, including one in the Twin Cities, there's just a lot of concern from families right now and a lot of anxiety about what might happen. And I just think it's appropriate for us to be as transparent as possible about what we are required to do and how we meet those obligations.
Absolutely. Thank you. Also wanted to mention we joined the City of San Antonio, Franklin Development, and the San Antonio Housing Trust and other partners to celebrate the grand opening of 425 San Pedro on January 20th. The development adds 80 affordable homes, including 25 permanent supportive housing units for individuals and families transitioning out of homelessness. Opportunity Home supported this project through a 15-year commitment of 25 project-based vouchers, helping to ensure long-term affordability. Supportive services are provided on-site by SAM's ministries. So I just wanted to thank the City of San Antonio, the Housing Trust, and all of our partners for collaboration on this project. Moving on, I wanted to mention that our Opportunity Home employees and their families joined thousands of community members at the 39th Annual Martin Luther King March to honor Dr. King's legacy and service. The march reflected a shared responsibility to strengthen our communities and continue moving toward greater equity. These principles guide our work and remain central to how we serve residents and the broader community. I also like to highlight that Opportunity Home's partnership in the City of San Antonio's annual Housing in San Antonio event hosted with the city's Neighborhood and Housing Services Department, Bexar County, and the San Antonio Housing Trust. The event helped connect families with information about housing programs and community resources. In addition to participating in the resource fair, Opportunity Home led a classroom session titled Understanding Affordable Housing, a Guide to Key Subsidized Programs, providing an overview of the nation's most impactful affordable housing programs. So I just wanted to thank our staff that volunteered, our speakers at the event, Ayana Longoria and Teresa Menendez-Myers, and of course Commissioners Burford and Johnson for their attendance at the event. It was a cold morning, but we showed up and it was a great event. This one's exciting for me. This is an exciting role where you get to meet many amazing public servants, but when you meet two legends, it becomes even more exciting. So 2 days ago, I was honored to have met two Mexican-American leaders in our community, Anastasio Torres and Juan Hernandez. Both artists led the effort to paint more than 300 murals at our Opportunity Home properties over the course of the last few decades, providing an opportunity to share Mexican-American history to our community and empowering our youth to take ownership of this art. I thank them for inspiring generations of our residents and community members with their incredible works of art. I also learned that art students at Our Lady of the Lake University, who I also met, will begin the process to restore these wonderful works of art, beginning with a mural right here at Casiano Homes, depicting the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which you can see in the bottom center there. They're going to engage in this long-term restoration effort to bring these works of art back to life. It was an incredible announcement. I was glad to be there. But after the meeting, Mr. Torres pulled me aside and said, I have something for you. I didn't know what he was going to give me, and he presented to me the original posters from the 1980s PepsiCo campaign that highlighted these murals in a national city outreach campaign. And so they're incredible. And I brought one I wanted to show you all. It depicts the mural here at Casiano, and I'm glad that it's finally made its way back home. And this is the campaign. It's the Virgen de Guadalupe, and it was a PepsiCo company marketing campaign. And this is the original poster, and we have all the originals that he provided, so we're just so grateful that he provided this to us. So our organization strongly supports this art preservation work to keep our community's history alive, and we invite all of our staff, our board members, if you have old jeans or clothes and you're ready to roll up your sleeves and do some painting, we're going to bring these and restore these works of art. So it's going to be an exciting project. And quickly, just upcoming events I wanted to make you aware of. President's Day holiday is coming up on February 16th. We have the 2026 Affordable Housing Outlook, our annual policy symposium where we bring practitioners to the table on February 27th. At that event, we launched our Strategy 2037, the Centennial Vision, our long-term blueprint in terms of where we're headed the next decade. On March 6th, we have a Haven for Hope Spring Community Resource Fair. On March 7th, we have Basura Bash, which is important for us to participate in. Our Fiesta fundraisers, April 24th and 25th. So there's a lot of things happening, public-facing events are happening, so we encourage you to attend. And with that, Commissioners, that's the end of my President's report, and I just wanted to thank you for the continued support as we advance our work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make one comment?
You absolutely may.
To our CEO and staff who are working on the mural preservation, I think it's important for us to acknowledge and remember that while history can be obscured and words can be changed, those depictions and that artwork that shows the true history of the community can remain as a source of information and a source of inspiration and to help us be proud of our heritage. So thank you very much for focusing on this project at this time.
Thank you. I will go ahead and recess for our non-profit corporation meeting. We will now recess for the regular board meeting and enter into the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting. The time now is 2:21 p.m.
After this, yeah.
Yes.
Hello and welcome to the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting on Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Please note this meeting will be recorded in its entirety. Do I need to conduct Commissioner roll call?
No, ma'am.
All right.
Do we have any citizens to be heard?
There are no citizens signed up to speak.
Considering that we have no citizens to be heard, I will go ahead. Actually, I went backwards, sorry. I have to call the meeting to order, but we don't have to do the whole spiel, correct? So no citizens to be heard. I will ask for approval of the December 10th, 2025 San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting minutes. Do I have any discussion or questions regarding those meeting minutes? No? With no questions or discussion, do I have a motion to approve the December 10th, 2025 San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We'll move on to consent items. We have consent items numbers 4 through 7. These consent items were discussed in the regular board meeting and passed. Are there any questions regarding the consent items on this agenda?
I'll just say that consent items 4 and 5, we're going to go into closed session first, and so.
Oh, thank you for the correction. I forgot about 9 and 10.
Perhaps the motion could be subject.
6 and 7.
Subject to the approval of the main board meeting later, these two would be approved, if you want to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Unless you want to open it up again.
Yeah, sorry, I was catching up with that too. I was trying to see which ones had been approved, and thank y'all, you were ahead of me on that one. Yes, I think you all would have to wait on the consent items for 4 and 5.
Okay.
So you'll have to just approve for now the 6, 7.
Okay.
Then you can go back and do the others once you finish the closed session discussion.
Okay. Consent items numbers 6 and 7 is what we will be moving to approve. Do we have any questions or comments regarding those items?
I move that we approve items 6 and 7.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. We're going to go ahead and adjourn the San Antonio, and I'm sorry.
Housing facility.
That one, the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting at this time. It is now 2:25 p.m.
So
And-
when do we open that meeting after exec? Yes.
And we will return to the regular board meeting, and we have returned, and we will call the meeting to order at this time, and it is still 2:25 p.m. Yes. Legal counsel, will you please read us into closed session?
Certainly. This is now on the regular board meeting, agenda item number 13, closed session, consultation with attorney. At this time, the Board of Commissioners will deliberate and obtain legal advice regarding legal issues pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, to include semi-annual litigation update and discuss individual items on this agenda, numbers 9 and 10, and any action necessary will be taken in open session. This time, the board will convene in closed.
Thank you.
Time now is 2:20.
The time is 4:37 p.m. and the board has returned to the regular board meeting.
At this time, I'd like to ask Tim Alcott to present items number 9 and 10. Thank you.
So as we're getting the slideshow up, this is all the time we have. So these are two traditional financing developments. And we have both Jeremy Baslow and Eric Calder here. You know, just wave, but they're from Dallas, and we're looking forward to them as partners on this deal and on future deals. And they've been really easy to work with. Can't say enough about them. They also have a big heart. I know Jeremy has started a foundation called Our Giving Kitchen, which in Dallas that provides food for homelessness. And I've been talking to him. He's looking to start one here too. So they're good people, as well as good housing providers. And so thank you for being here today. Durrington Ridge is the first of the two that we're going to go through, but we're asking for final approval here today. They have applied for a 100% tax exemption. They have it now. What they would do is we'd be the new partner on this transaction. We're not providing any financial obligations on these two properties. And that's their two companies, Ascendant Capital and Clover Investment Partners. Can you help me with the, thank you. And this, we're going to move on. This is who they are. Move on. They're great people. Next slide. And so the first one is Durrington Ridge. And what's nice about this is in this area of town is that there's very few developments that take housing choice vouchers. And by having them as our partner, they will accept vouchers. Another great thing about this development is that we have very few affordable housing developments in this area. And it's in the Johnson High School, which is one of the top schools in the area. And so folks that live in or work in the area can now live in the area. And so that's a big win for us. And this is an area, if you had a map of all of our developments, this is an area where you'd see a big hole because we don't have very many. And so we're very excited to be able to partner with them here. And so people that live there or work there can now live there. These are Class A apartments. This is a beautiful apartments. It's like many that you've seen, like Amara and others that we own. But this one has a clubhouse, garage, dog park, lap pool, typical Class A amenities. I've toured it, walked it. It's a place I would like to live. Next slide, or I doubled it. And here's the income mix. And there's a significant difference between what the market rate units are compared to the affordable units, and some of them are like $700 a month. And so we're generating funds on these, but also the people that live in the area will have a significant savings in their rent every month. But it's 398 units. They consist of 1s, 2s, and 3s, and this is a non-tax credit transaction. Where did the money go? So whenever I'm sorry, I missed this one. What also was amazing is $204,000 a unit. You saw earlier in the board meetings that we had some that were $300,000 to build. So we are buying it way below the cost of construction, especially with the land value. And this is right next to the big VIA park and ride, which is a great amenity for folks that may want to live there. Next slide. Thank you. And, the board knows, but I want to repeat it, especially for the new board members, that we do have a development policy. And anytime we do a non-tax credit deal, we have a policy on where the funds go. And it's listed here, but we are looking to really serve people on our wait list, people that are lower income, and we're not getting enough funds from the federal government to support our very needy folks. And this is one of the few tools that we have to be able to fulfill or subsidize the gaps that we have when we redevelop. And we have a big, 10-year goal here is to redevelop all of our public housing. All of it will have gaps. This is how we fill it. And through our partnership with these gentlemen here, we are able to bridge those gaps. And so what we have here listed, and because it's been mentioned in the previous slides, I won't go through them, but this is where the funds go. And so it's very important that we're able to do these. We're very selective on where they are in the area of town. We look for places where people would normally be able to live, that live in our housing. And so this checked all the boxes. We also spent a lot of time with our partners to make sure that they are mission aligned with us. And there's a longer discussion there, but they have the same values we do. So we're very happy to have them as partners. I can go through the next one. We can go ahead and go straight to the next one. We'll have one motion. So Nova is the other property, and it's the same facts. It's 100% tax exemption. We have no liability. Next slide. And this was near UTSA, same people. Next slide. And the amenities, this is by UTSA, and it's another area where there's not a lot of affordable housing. And so I walked it. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that the previous owners before German's Group bought it spent $35,000 a door on repairs. And so these have been, they're kind of newer units, and then they spent $35,000. And if you look at the per door cost, if I'm able to get the next slide, this is where it is by UTSA. Next slide. And there's a unit mix. Anyway, here's the same thing. We have 50% units, 60% units, 80% units, market rate, 1s, 2s, and 3s. Again, significant cost savings on the market rate versus the affordable. You'll see some $700, $800 a month on the larger size. There's the development itself. Next slide. And look at the $148,000 a door. That's amazing in that area of town. And remember, they put $35,000 a year of repairs into it as well. So we're excited about being able to have something this good at that price point in this area. And, we're getting part of the tax savings, a lot of benefits here. So, again, great development, great partners. We're excited about it. Same affordability metrics that we talked about before. And any questions? I think the next slide, here it is. That's it. Thank you very much. I would like for you all to approve it, but before you do that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
No, just a comment. I just wanted to say that this makes me really excited for the future of our public housing children, because it creates opportunities that we would never have, especially access to quality high education for our children. And so this only not helps us break the cycle of poverty, but also it gives us an opportunity to give our children that would not have access to these great education, and for them to have these opportunities. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well said.
Okay, if there is no further discussion, I'd like to call for a motion to approve items number 9, Resolution 6837, and number 10, Resolution number 6839. Do I have a first?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
You have the affiliated entities.
Yes, hold on.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we need to, hold on, patience.
She's got it. We're gonna adjourn.
Okay, so if there are no objections, I'd like to adjourn the regular board meeting of the of Opportunity Home. No objections. The meeting is adjourned, and the time is now 4:46. At this time, I'd like to reopen the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting so that we may vote on items discussed in the regular board meeting and approved just 2 seconds ago. They are items numbers 4 and 5 in the original consent item list. May I have a motion to approve consent items number 4 and 5?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
We have a first and second. If there is no additional discussion, I would like to ask for all those in favor to say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. And again, I would like to adjourn the San Antonio Housing Facility Corporation meeting. The time is now 4:47 p.m. Thank
Could
you.
I say a word? Just
You absolutely can.
I know how much hassle it is to move us around the city, and the whole, and all this, and the food, and the AV, and the air conditioning, so, and the security. And so I know that this is a hassle for everybody, but it is so helpful to us, and it is so important for us to be in the community, to see our communities, to see our neighbors that we're working with. So I really want to thank not only the staff at HQ, but also the staff here at Casiano, and to know that, Casiano is 2/3 kids. So that's pretty extraordinary when you think about, 1,100 or more children that are living here, that we are doing the absolute best we can to provide the safest and most stable operations that we can. And I think when we talk about a lot of the financial arrangements here, we always come back to that last slide, which is we're trying to generate enough revenue in as many ways as possible so that we can make a better life for the people that we're responsible for. And so I just really want to thank the community manager, Lorianne Trevino, and the assistant community managers, and all the maintenance folks who work so hard with, I know, outmoded facilities and not enough this and not enough that. And every time we meet, we're like, well, could we have more security? Could we have better lighting? Yeah, we hear you. But we know that's all resource constrained. And just a big thanks to everyone for doing the absolute best you can with the resources that we do have.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody.
Righty.
We're done. Oh, we have to call station. We done?